My face when Americans call a Rudy Tooty point and shooty a gun. Hey there, dude, friend, fellows. Welcome back to ReddX. This is Flintlockbeard Part 2. The smoke thickens. And apparently we all became French. Hey everyone, I finally found some time to write, so I figured I would bring you Part 2 of the Flintlockbeard saga. For a refresher, this story happened about 15 years ago, so I'm trying my best to remember all that happened. If I can't remember for sure, it won't make it into this saga. So, who was Flintlockbeard? Well, he was a neckbeard, pure and simple, as if we hadn't guessed. At the time of this story, he was in his late 30s, and he was insufferable, and he would prove to be dangerous. Let's recap the cast list and introduce a couple of new characters, shall we? There's me, OP, your humble narrator and a muzzleloader firearms enthusiast. It actually is a really fun activity and overall a cheaper way of enjoying the shooting sport / hobby. Remember, I was 20 at the time and now I've just turned 35. God, I feel old now. 6'4", 280 pounds, so I was a little chubby, but I kept myself as healthy as I could. When I wasn't at the shooting club or spending time with my girlfriend or other friends, I ran my own tree removal / firewood / lawn care service. Yep, you had to get that hustle on even back in 2008. Why is it hustle? That seems like a legitimate business. I tried my best to coexist with the beard of this story, at least so far as when I had the displeasure of actually dealing with him. There's, of course, Flintlockbeard, ye old beard in question. I honestly can't remember his name, so he'll remain Flintlockbeard, which is probably for the best. He is the subject of this saga, the study of beardery and cringe, our beard-tagonist, if you prefer. Interesting turn of phrase. Is he protagonist or antagonist? No, he's beard-tagonist, which could go either way. He was a fat and smelly crap pile of existence. He considered himself the superior gentleman and the best shot in the muzzleloader club that I was a part of. Spoiler alert, he was none of those things. He was creepy and cringy, and he blamed everything and everyone he could to explain away why he was a poor shot. He also had a knack for staring and stalking, and would insert himself into situations and conversations that he had no business being in. He thought we lived in the 18th century when it suited him, so he dressed like a historically authentic mountain man. Mountain Dew man, more like it.
Hey, ain't nothing like a good Mountain Dew. Yes, Lord.
He thought the only place a woman belonged was in the kitchen or in the bedroom, making him some little beardlets. It's a worrying composite of a human being. In the first story, he was a little two-faced, a little whiny, but not completely hateable, I guess. There was some heavy foreshadowing, though, so I'm worried for what's to come. There's also Naomi, OP's girlfriend at the time, not her real name. She was beautiful, and at the time, she was the one that I thought I'd spend the rest of my life with. Boy, did I dodge a bullet on that one. She ended up being an object of desire to Flintlockbeard and was almost the victim of his very creepy advances to the point of the attempted R word. Oh no, we can't sign off on that. Like the threat of the R word was hanging in the air, but I think this is the first time we said it out loud. So good. That's terrible. She's 5'5", 135 pounds, larger B-cup boobs, which we probably still don't have to describe.
Humongous hungalonga no logongas.
Loved drawing and sketching people and anime, loved video games. She would be known as Beard Bait nowadays. Club president? Yeah, he's the club president of our muzzleloader club. He was a large but tall man on the middle-aged side, stern when he needed to be, but he had a very Mr. Rogers-esque view on people and the world, which was great, but was also a fault in this particular situation. He was probably the best shot in the group, and I learned a lot from him when it comes to competition shooting with muzzleloaders. Hank, not his real name, but he was one of the 2 new people beside myself that was briefly mentioned in the last episode. Won't go into too much description of him, other than that he was 6'2" and in his mid-20s. He was from Iowa, so he was one of them corn-fed country farm boys. He has a part to play in this, part due, and I'll explain that when it comes to it. Cheryl is not her real name, and she was the other newbie mentioned in part 1. She was on the shorter side, around 5'2", and a very sweet young lady, 23 at the time of this story. She was a very positive presence and always kept things fun. She was very laid back, but she didn't take no shit from Flintlockbeard, for the most part, who tried desperately to hit on her, despite being told no several times. One of those times will be discussed in this part. So, without further ado, as a wise man once said, buckle your seatbelts and let's get into this. I think that wise man was Aerith, author of the Guitar Beard saga, among many others. So after the first week that I had attended, which was very weird and cringe-filled thanks to Flintlockbeard, my girlfriend and I went out to dinner. In the drive back to her place from dinner, I told Naomi more about what happened at that first shoot, and she laughed and couldn't believe how much of a big baby Flintlockbeard was being. The next week had come up, and I drove myself to the club this time, as my girlfriend had to work. I got my stuff out of the back of the car and walked towards the door. As I was walking to the door that goes into the club and the range, I saw Flintlockbeard. Trying to be polite, I said, "Hello." He barely acknowledged me, but I know he saw me because he just said, "Pfft," and walked in right ahead of me.
Well, okay then. So much for that.
I said to myself. Now, my hands were full, and a normal, functioning human being would have held the door open for me, but this was Flintlockbeard. He was not a normal or functioning human being. So much for being a gentleman. I guess that stuff only applied to the ladies. Bro, you blow me off like that is gonna be pistols at dawn, okay? You can't just let some stuff slide like this. Now he thinks he's the big man on campus. Oh no, I gotta straighten you right out. I finally got into the club, even though it was a little difficult with the stuff in my hands, but yes, I did make it in. I saw Flintlockbeard at the vending machine, getting his favorite victuals, Cheetos, Doritos, honey buns, beef jerky, and Mountain Dew. I asked him in as nice a tone as possible why he didn't hold the door open for me, like the gentleman he professed to be. He was already dressed in his totally historically authentic mountain man attire, with a rancid-looking coonskin cap perched atop his empty head. I'm glad OP is addressing it straight up, though. Flintlockbeard says, you young bucks think you're entitled to having everyone do everything for you. You got in, didn't you? You gotta learn to do things for yourself, man. Yeah, you too, Flintlockbeard, like cooking. How many honey buns have you eaten this week? You think 50 grams of saturated fat sitting in your arteries is a good thing? Now, whatever, have at it, man. The quicker you're off this earth, the better, as far as I'm concerned. But OP instead says,
I don't think I'm entitled to anything. It would have been a nice gesture and helpful if you could have held the door open for me so I could get in without any trouble, as I had my hands full.
Flintlockbeard, whatever, dude. You should just do yourself a favor and stay out of my way. I don't want to have to teach you a lesson in being a real man or in manners of a proper gentleman. Stuff like this is why we need to bring back dueling. OP says,
Okay, you're blowing this way out of proportion, man.
Flintlockbeard, oh, am I? I suppose you think just because you barely won. Recap, I beat him by 2 hits last week. He hit his target twice out of 5. I hit mine 4 out of 5. Against me? You think I owe you something? I will defeat you and regain my honor. God, you're pathetic. Who talks like this? OP says,
Okay, if you say so. I'll see you out on the range. Good luck and good day, sir.
Now, at the time, in my younger, more naive mind, I felt that the best way to get along with people was to try your best to please everyone, and eventually they'll come around. Fuck that, man. I ain't no people pleaser. You don't like me, I don't like you either. How about that? Boy, am I glad I learned better as I got older. Some people just refuse to come around, and you gotta scrape them off and stand up for yourself while you do it. It's life advice. I still try to give people a modicum of respect until they prove that they don't deserve it. That's true. Remain cordial until they become the asshole, and then you just meet them at that. So with all that in mind, let's continue. I went to sit down at one of the tables, and Hank and Cheryl came and sat down with me. Since we were the new folks, we kind of bonded over that fact. Also, since they were a bit older than me, they had a little more real-world experience with which I could start to absorb when it came to dealing with people like Flintlockbeard. Hank: "Hey, how you doing? I don't think we've been properly introduced. I'm Hank, and I'm new to this club." OP:
Oh, hi Hank. I'm OP. I'm new to this club as well.
Cheryl: "Hello, OP. We haven't been introduced either. I'm Cheryl." OP:
Hey there, Cheryl. I'm OP. It's nice to meet you both. You're the other newbie to this club as well?
Cheryl: "Yeah, I am. My dad got me into this kind of shooting and encouraged me to join a club to meet some new people and have a new way to improve my skills." Hank: "Yeah, my grandpa taught me how to shoot these kinds of guns, and I really enjoy it. Say, what got you into this type of stuff, OP?" OP:
Oh, it was my uncle. He used to do historical reenacting and even go to some heritage shoots and even went to the National Muzzle Loading Rifle Association's HQ and range in Friendship, Indiana. He taught me everything I know about this type of shooting stuff, and he and I even built this rifle.
I showed them both my rifle. They thought it was pretty cool that I got to do that with my uncle, and they complimented how the rifle looked. Cheryl: "Hey, I noticed you were talking to Flintlockbeard, but didn't catch what it was about. What happened?" OP:
Well, he considers himself to be the superior gentleman, and I asked why he wouldn't hold the door open for me, as he walked in right before me and I had both hands full with my gear.
Hank: "Maybe he didn't see you." OP:
No, he saw me. He saw me in the parking lot, and he saw me walking almost directly behind him.
Cheryl: "That doesn't sound very much like a gentleman, and from the way he was talking to you, it sounds like he has a beef with you. What gives?" That boy got a beef with everybody. He's got a gigantic chip on his shoulders. I wouldn't invest too much into that. He's dealing with his own demons. But OP says, "I told them all about what happened last week, how he bragged before we even got started, and when we got out on the range, how he was gonna show me what a real marksman looks like." Yeah, fat, apparently. Really, really fat.
Get a life, you fat fuck!
And ugly and stupid, too. Is that what a real marksman looks like? Because that's what you look like. No, I'm just being mean. I told him how I ended up beating him and how he huffed and puffed off back to his office when I did so. Cheryl: "Doesn't exactly sound like a good guy. When I had to go give him my dues for the club, he suggested that I could give you a discount if you would do me the great honor of going out on a date with me, my lady." I told him I wasn't interested, and then his demeanor changed for the worse. Is the club president really in charge of all this stuff? Can't we have a vote and just have him removed? If not from the club entirely, then at least positions of authority. All in favor say aye. Motion carries. Hank asked Cheryl, "Wait, he actually said m'lady? What a creep." So, after he said that, Flintlockbeard walked by, Cheeto stains on his shirt, and he let out a very loud belch as he walked past our table. The smell left behind was putrid, and the three of us had to get up and vacate to a gas attack bunker. Yeah, that's a bit of a crop dusting, isn't it? In this case, our bunker was the range. Flintlockbeard just let out a guttural beard laugh as we walked by him into the range. A couple minutes later, everyone started to file in. Flintlockbeard came in and wedged himself between Hank and Cheryl, trying no doubt to show how much of an alpha he was, as he stood up as straight as he could with his chest puffed out. Stay puffed, that is. Yeah, you got a couple little doughy marshmallows hanging off the front here. What's this, Flintlockbeard? Few too many rounds of Chubby Bunny, right? He was breathing heavily as the walk in from the tables area into the range must have worn him out. He was also wearing what he thought was authentic 18th century riding boots, In actuality, they were those high boots that women wear that have straps around them, and Cheryl pointed that out. Cheryl, nice boots, Flintlockbeard. Flintlockbeard, thank thee, m'lady. They're authentic 18th century riding boots. Only the most distinguished gentle sirs were permitted to wear them. He's just a weird guy. He just doesn't know how to interact with anybody. I would suggest to Cheryl to just not engage. Sure, it's a dunk, but then you're making conversation with him and he thinks that's okay. Cheryl holding back a snicker. Those are actually women's boots. Where did you get them and why are you wearing them? Flintlockbeard. They're not females' boots. You are mistaken. And I will not tolerate insults about my attire from the likes of you. I got these at an estate sale last year, and I was assured that they were authentic boots worn by American officers during the Revolution. You wouldn't know the difference. You aren't a scholar like I am. Oh yeah? What are your credentials? Oh, you read a bunch of Wikipedia articles, uh-huh. At this point, OP interrupts and says,
FB? Those are not riding boots. And they're certainly not from the 18th century. Those boots are made of felt and cheap leather straps.
Noticing an orange sticker price on the heel of his left boot, there's a price tag on him. Flintlockbeard starts growing angry. What? That's just the price tag at the sale. I paid $2,000 for them, and I even have a certificate of authenticity right here in my bag. You realize anybody can print a certificate, right? Cheryl, you carry the certificate around in your bag on the off chance you get asked about your boots? Flintlockbeard, of course. I have to make sure people know how authentic of a true gentleman I am. And, of course, show the damsels and wenches how much money I can sling. I hate to be the one to tell you this, Flintlockbeard, but there's no more damsels or wenches. They died out hundreds of years ago, okay? All we got left these days is e-girls and femcells. You take your pick. Cheryl says, I have those same boots, and I paid $40 for them. OP.
Those are not what you think they are, and I bet that certificate is fake. 18th century riding boots were worn by cavalry and other officers, and would have had a single strap and made out of real quality leather, and could have accepted spurs. Where are your spurs? And let's see that certificate.
Flintlockbeard became very mad at the both of us. He flummoxed and rustled through his possibles bag, a bag slung across your shoulder to hold your stuff for shooting and loading and cleaning. But yeah, he couldn't find that elusive certificate. Flintlockbeard, well, this is a travesty. A rapscallion must have stuck in and taken my certificate. Oh yes, do watch out for those rapscallions. These boots are fucking authentic. I'm the historian here. You two don't know a damn thing about what you're trying to talk about. Finally, the club president then spoke. Club president,
Okay, everyone, welcome again. Glad you're all here. So this week our shooting competition will be 2 versus 2, tournament style, single elimination. The highest scoring teams will face off in the finals. If your team loses, you're free to go home. Stick around and watch, or you can go down to lanes 13 and 14 and keep shooting until we're done. All right, here are the teams.
oh, good old luck of the draw. He went through the teams. I was paired up with Hank. Cheryl, God help her, was paired up with Flintlockbeard. I could see the gears. Even though filled with gunk, they were beginning to turn in his half-functioning brain. His eyes lit up. His hamburger paw hands were starting to sweat. This was about to get weird. Poor Cheryl, just drop out. Be like, you know what? I'm good, actually. I don't want to play this week, you guys. So Hank and I were first paired up against a couple of other guys. We were on lanes 7 and 8. Cheryl and Flintlockbeard were paired up against the club president and another club officer, the safety officer. since he doesn't have much to do with this part, he won't be mentioned any further. I was torn because I wanted to see Flintlockbeard get put in his place by our club president and his brother-in-law, but I also didn't want to see Cheryl lose, thus drawing the ire of Flintlockbeard because he had another person to blame, if indeed they lost. They were on the lanes next to us, 5 and 6. And the competition itself, well, it was quite a challenge. It was an upside-down triangle, which was white on a black background, and you had to hit as close to the bottom point of the triangle as you could without touching any of the black. Basically an aim small, miss small type of thing. The distance was 35 yards, and the final would be out to 50 yards. I could do this. Watch me do this. Give me 5 minutes to load my gun, and then watch me do this.
Peter, what the hell are you doing?
Lois, I thought I heard a noise downstairs. Go stall him for 20 minutes and pray that it's not too damp in here.
Hank and I decided that I would go first, so I loaded up my rifle, stood in my stance, steadied myself, set my set trigger, breathed, and fired. When the smoke cleared, we brought the target in close enough to mark. I had just barely hit the black to the right. No score. I was upset. Hank, hey, don't worry about it. You get it next time. We still got 9 more chances. We each had 5 shots to score as many points as possible. This was the boost I needed, as when I compete at something and don't start out too well, I get inside my own head. A bullseye was worth 5 points, and each target had marks on it inside the triangle that were spaced an inch apart, each worth points. 5 inches from the bullseye, 1 point, 4 inches, 2 points, and so on and so forth. As Hank was loading, I saw Cheryl up on the firing line loading her rifle, and I could see Flintlockbeard standing almost over her shoulder. Even though we had ear protection on, I could still hear his voice over the shooting and the air vents. Flintlockbeard, you know, you look absolutely amazing while you load your rifle, milady. I'm sure you and I could show each other a few things. You're yelling loud enough for everybody to hear, you fucking savage. Cheryl says, I can't hear you over the noise. Flintlockbeard, I know you can hear me. I can hear you, and I know I could make you happy and teach you more than just shooting stuff. What the hell? Club president, are you scoping this out right now? He's chasing off your prospects. Everybody's just turning and looking the other way. Jesus. OP continues, yes, good old gaslighting, the flirtation tactic of the truest alpha males. Laugha males. Cheryl says, sorry, I still can't hear you. I need to shoot. Now, back up away from me. I couldn't help but laugh over this. If I had known what it was to be a neckbeard, I would have said something to our club president. And besides, it looked like, at the time, Cheryl could handle herself. Cheryl, by the way, had a beautiful rifle. A 40 caliber flintlock rifle with iron furniture, which means any of the metal parts, and a curly maple stock with a deer hunting scene engraved into the buttstock. I would later find out that she carved this scene herself. Woman of many talents. Too good for Flintlockbeard. So she fired, boom! And when she brought in her target, she scored a 4. A very good shot without having time to sight in our rifles. She was very happy and did a little bit of a jump celebration session. You know, that kind of thing that girls do. It was cute, and I said,
All right, good shot, Cheryl.
And she said, thanks, OP. Not bad, huh? At this point, Flintlockbeard's face turned sour. Oh, for the love of... What is wrong? You're gonna win the competition just because you're not the one that carried the team? Then get better, stupid. Flintlockbeard started to huff and pout. He knew that she had heard him but was ignoring him, and from then on he treated Cheryl like she didn't belong. But she always had a comeback for him, usually in the form of out-shooting him, but also by saying that she was a lesbian. She wasn't, but did that to try and deter him because he would occasionally try to hit on her, until things got really mean-spirited, but we'll get to that part shortly. I mean, I gotta say I expect that. He's been mean-spirited the whole time. He's just got like this thin veil covering it because he thinks he might benefit from it in some way. But once Cheryl shuts him down, he's like, no more Mr. Nice Guy. Okay, but let's admit that you weren't actually nice this entire time. Anyway, Hank got a bullseye, and then I scored a 4 on my second shot. When I was waiting for my turn to go, I saw Flintlockbeard up at the firing line. He took a shot, and I knew right after he had fired that he was going to get a low score or no score because I saw him jerk the gun as he fired. He brought his target in to look at, this being his second shot, and he had missed 3 inches to the left in the black. Flintlockbeard,
oh, what the fuck? This rifle can't shoot straight. We should have been given time to sight in our rifles. This isn't fair. This is an outrage.
look, it's just a friendly competition, a game. It's fine to lose, but stop acting like a goddamn loser. He continued to throw a tantrum by stomping his feet, and then he made the mistake of telling Cheryl,
you better get a bullseye on this next shot, or you will be the cause of our downfall.
No, wait! No, I gotta take this off, because my brain is gotta clear up.
Interesting how that works, isn't it? I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I thought I had slipped into some alternate reality, but then I remembered what happened last week. Cheryl, trying not to be deterred by this, told him to shut up. Then she stepped up on the line and took her shot. It must have gotten to her, though, because she got a 2. Flintlockbeard, of course, threw another tantrum. Flintlockbeard, at this point, shrieking through his blubber lips,
you stupid bitch, you screwed us over!
Even though they were still in it to win it.
You imbecile! Why do I have to shoot with the newbies? It's throwing me off! I deserve the right to hold my status position and shoot with the best, which I know I am.
Club president, seeing this happen, immediately came over. Hopefully he's gonna smack him in the mouth, but I know it's not gonna happen. Club president, in his stern, when needed voice,
Flintlockbeard, that's enough! Either you shut up and shoot and stop treating our fellow members like trash, or I will kick you out of this club.
Long overdue, honestly. Do it! Make it happen! Take him out back!
He's my dog, I'll do it.
Get the fuck out of here.
Flintlockbeard.
You can't talk to me like that. I'm the only one in this damn club that can keep the books balanced, and I'm your brother-in-law. And I'll tell my sister, your wife, that you were harassing me, and I know she'll believe me over you.
I didn't see how this was possible, since club president was basically Mr. Rogers when he wasn't being stern when needed. Club president said,
you stop this, or we will test that theory.
Do it. Do it. Make it happen right now. Flintlockbeard did back off, but he still had a look of spite on his face and intentionally missed the shot entirely on his remaining shots. Even though Cheryl got a bullseye and a 4 on her last 2 shots, it wasn't enough, and they were eliminated. After they were eliminated, Naomi had shown up. Since Hank and I had won our first match by 2 points, we still had to stay in the range. I was excited that she was there, but knew that since Flintlockbeard was eliminated, he was still in a pissed off mood, even though he was the one that caused them to lose. See, he feels better about losing if he just doesn't try, right? If he actually gave it his best and still lost, that would just crush his fragile little ego to bits. So Flintlockbeard would be free to go out into where the tables were. I should probably explain that there were bulletproof windows separating the range from where the tables were, so anyone could watch us shooting from safety. This would allow him to be out there with her, Flintlockbeard with Naomi. At this point, Hank says, "Hey, who's that out there that's putting a smile on your face?" OP.
That's my girlfriend. I thought she was at work, though. She must have got off early. She did.
Hank. Okay, well, we got a cheerleader now. Let's get this next round won. If we win, we're in the finals. Had I known that Flintlockbeard saw this situation as an opportunity to try and hit on my girlfriend, I would have tried to throw the match so I could be with her and get her the hell out of it. At the time, I didn't think that she would be in any danger, even though last week she told me that he had stared at her creepily, and I decided not to tell him not to do that. Like I said, I was naive, and wanted to be a people pleaser and not ruffle any feathers and try and see the good in people. I mean, you could see the good in people and still call them on their bullshit, you know? As it turned out, we lost that second match by a single point. I gathered up my things, shook Hank's hand, shook the hand of our club president and range safety officer, as they were our competition that round, and I was blown away that we finished even that close to them. They both said,
Good match. See you all next week.
I went out into the area where Naomi was and saw Flintlockbeard getting a little too close to her. All right, this is where you put your foot down, right, OP? She had a look of distress and disgust on her face. I immediately rushed over. She hugged me tight and whispered in my ear, "We need to go." OP.
FB, what did you say to my girlfriend?
Flintlockbeard.
Oh, that's your girlfriend? She's enchanting. Hey, I'm sure he doesn't treat you well enough. I would treat you like a goddess, milady.
Like, this is... how have you not punched him? You're driving me up a wall. I'm telling you, pistols at dawn is a great option right now. OP says...
You have no idea how I treat her, which is great, by the way. You need to stop this now, or I'll tell CP about this incident.
Flintlockbeard.
You won't do anything. You're not an alpha gentleman like I am. I'll be the real man she needs. You're just a boy. He's just a boy. You shouldn't have to see that. He's just a boy.
You need to think about good thoughts while you're still a boy.
I like when people say alpha in real life. It's just like the immediate largest red flag. I'm like, oh, I don't interact with you ever again. Naomi said, "You stay away from me. OP's a great boyfriend and a real man. I don't appreciate you hitting on me after I told you I have a boyfriend." At this point, my naive, be a people pleaser demeanor started its process of melting away, and from that point on, I would increasingly start to see this type of behavior for what it really was. I think you knew what it was the entire time, OP, you just weren't willing to fight him over it. Which I guess is fine, but I'm not gonna pretend that passivity is this inherently noble virtue. I'm not a huge fan of Jordan Peterson, but one thing he said that stuck with me is that being incapable of violence doesn't make you good. As far as I'm concerned, you've questioned my manhood. We've passed the line for where violence will happen. Win or lose, I'm gonna swing on you. Anyways, OP says...
You hit on my girlfriend even after she told you she had a boyfriend? Dude, not cool. You stay away from her.
Flintlockbeard trying to appear like the alpha he claimed to be, but actually looking more like a fat turd 99-cent store Daniel Boone.
Oh, you just wait. One way or another, I'll get what I want. I'll have my prize, and I will duel anyone who tries to stop me.
Are you in a state where dueling is legal? I would totally fucking duel him. Shoot him right in the gut. Be like, you play stupid games, you win stupid prizes, you know? We just left after this. This was just too wild and cringe for us. I mean, he warned you. This is the precipice. If you had slapped him in the mouth in this moment, it would have gone no further. He would have cried like a little bitch. It would have been all over. But sometimes we have to learn lessons the hardest way. We both knew that this guy was a creep and was way out of touch with reality, but we didn't know just how far he could go. It wouldn't take long for that to be revealed, however. I guess that's gonna do it for part 2. I hope you enjoyed yourselves reading this, and when I find time to write another, I'll bring you part 3. Y'all come back now, you hear? There's plenty of cringe left to be told, and part 3 gets even more cringe and heavy than this part did. Stay safe. Remember the 4 rules of gun safety. Keep your eyes on the target and happy shooting. And as Mindy from the Animaniacs said,
Okay, I love you, bye-bye.
I'm just amazed that so much stuff flew under the radar. We're just letting this and that slide. He's an unbalanced individual, quite clearly. I will resort to physical violence to protect the people that I love. If that's the only thing that you understand, so be it. But again, I don't think we're going to get to take that easy road. Hope you enjoyed this video, friends. If you'd like some more Neckbeard stories, we got the Guitar Beard saga right here for you. It was mentioned in this video, and it's a damn fine saga. So go check it out. Always remember, friends, you are loved, you are worthy, you definitely deserve it, and I shall see you in the next one. So until then, bye-bye.
It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown.